Welcome, true crime enthusiasts, to another gripping episode of True Crime Mysteries with Miss Murder. I'm your host, Miss Murder, and today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and complex cases in recent Australian history, the Wieambilla massacre. This episode will take you through the chilling details of this tragedy, exploring the radicalization of the perpetrators, the harrowing events of the attack, and the extensive aftermath. Prepare for a journey into a world of extremism, violence, and the quest for justice. To fully grasp the events of December 12, 2022, it's essential to understand the backgrounds and radicalisations of the Train family, Nathaniel, Gareth and Stacey. Their transformation from ordinary individuals into violent extremists was driven by a combination of personal crises, ideological shifts and online radicalisation. Nathaniel Train was once a respected principal, known for his dedication and involvement in his community. His career in education was marked by a genuine commitment to his students. However, a severe heart attack in 2017 marked the beginning of a significant shift in Nathaniel's life. This health crisis, compounded by personal disillusionment and a growing distrust of government institutions, led Nathaniel down a path of radicalisation. COVID-19 acted as a catalyst, exposing him to a flood of conspiracy theories and misinformation. Online forums became Nathaniel's primary source of information, where he encountered various conspiracy theorists and extremist ideologies. His previously sceptical views transformed into a profound distrust of government and mainstream institutions, which ultimately paved the way for his radicalisation. Gareth Train's radicalisation was heavily influenced by his online activities. Initially, Gareth's interest in conspiracy theories and apocalyptic beliefs was relatively harmless. However, his involvement in extremist online communities marked a crucial turning point. By mid-2021, Gareth's interactions with Donald Day Jr., an American extremist, played a significant role in deepening his radical beliefs. Day, known for his violent and apocalyptic ideology, introduced Gareth to a more extreme interpretation of his already fringe views. This online relationship was instrumental in shifting Gareth's perspective from passive conspiracy theorist to active extremist. Discussions with Day about violent confrontations and apocalyptic scenarios influenced Gareth's preparations for the eventual attack. Stacey Train, Gareth's wife, was an active participant in the family's radicalisation. Unlike Nathaniel and Gareth, Stacey's involvement in extremist activities was marked by her proactive role in supporting and propagating their beliefs. Stacey's commitment to their apocalyptic vision was evident in her extensive efforts to prepare for what they believed to be an imminent end-time scenario. Her active role in the construction of defensive fortifications around their property and her participation in extremist online discussions underscore her deep immersion in their radical ideology. Stacey's preparation for the supposed end times involved meticulous planning, including the construction of man-traps and defensive positions on their property. Her role was not just passive support, but active involvement in the family's extremist activities. The Wieambilla property was not merely a rural home, it was transformed into a fortress designed for defence and aggression. The drastic changes made to the property reflect the Train's commitment to their apocalyptic beliefs and their preparation for violent conflict. The property was heavily fortified with various defensive measures, indicating the Train's anticipation of a violent confrontation. These fortifications included barricades, concealed shooting positions, and man-traps intended to repel and injure any intruders. The construction of these defences was not a spontaneous act, but the result of extensive planning. The Trains built barricades around their property, including pits with spikes and other dangerous traps designed to deter or injure anyone attempting to enter. Concealed shooting positions were strategically placed to allow the Trains to monitor and attack from hidden vantage points. The use of camouflage and defensive structures reflects their expectation of a prolonged standoff and their readiness for a violent confrontation. December 12, 2022 was a day marked by violence and chaos. The sequence of events leading to the massacre were both swift and devastating. Here's a detailed breakdown of that fateful day. The day began with a missing persons report involving Nathaniel Train, prompting a police response. Constables Rachel McCrow and Matthew Arnold, along with 2 other officers, were dispatched to investigate the Wieambilla property. As the officers approached, they were met with immediate and intense gunfire from the trains, who had set up concealed shooting positions. The trains, armed with high-powered rifles and protected by their fortifications, launched a deadly ambush. The initial confrontation resulted in the deaths of Constables McCrow and Arnold. The remaining officers, facing an overwhelming and well-prepared adversary, took cover and called for additional support. The chaotic nature of the scene was exacerbated by the train's defensive measures and aggressive tactics. Upon arriving at the property at about 1 p.m, the officers were ambushed by the trains. Nathaniel, Gareth and Stacey Train, who had prepared for a confrontation, engaged the officers with high-powered rifles from concealed positions. Then about 10 minutes later at 1:10 p.m, Constables Rachel McCrow and Matthew Arnold are killed in the initial exchange of gunfire. The remaining officers retreat to a safe distance and request reinforcements, struggling with the train's strategic positioning and firepower. At about 2 p.m, additional police units and emergency services arrive on the scene, but face difficulties due to the train's well-fortified positions and the ongoing fire. The area is secured peripherally, but direct engagement remains dangerous. At about 3 p.m, the police special emergency response team is deployed to handle the escalating situation. They began planning a coordinated assault to neutralise the threat, while negotiations with the trains failed to yield a resolution. At about 4 p.m, the trains set fire to vehicles and create additional barriers around their property to hinder police efforts. Their actions and refusal to negotiate escalate the urgency and complexity of the response. At about 6 p.m, CERT officers prepare for a direct confrontation with the trains. Tactical manoeuvres and preparations are made for a high-risk engagement as the standoff continues into the evening. Finally, by 10:41 p.m, the confrontation culminates in a final assault by CERT officers. The trains are fatally shot after refusing to surrender and continuing to fire on the police. The standoff ends with the neutralisation of the threat. The police response to the Wieambilla attack faced significant challenges and operational difficulties. These issues highlight the complexities of managing a high-risk situation involving armed extremists. Constable Craig Loveland's testimony revealed severe communication breakdowns during the response. Despite warnings about the property's dangerous nature, officers experienced significant issues with radio communication and GPS systems. Constable Christopher Sharman, who responded from Dalby, also faced communication failures, which hampered the ability to coordinate and respond effectively. The technical issues exacerbated the difficulties encountered by officers on the ground. The responding officers were confronted with additional challenges due to the train's defensive tactics and the limitations of their equipment. Armed only with pistols, the officers were at a significant disadvantage against the train's high-powered rifles. The inability to approach the shooting scene or effectively engage the trains underscored gaps in training and resources. Constable Matthew Arnold, one of the officers killed, was among the few trained to use rifles kept at police stations, highlighting the need for specialised training and equipment. The inquest into the Wieambilla massacre was a critical process in uncovering the details of the attack and its underlying causes. The findings from the inquest provided valuable insights into the train's radicalisation and the response of law enforcement. Professor John Roos's report played a crucial role in understanding the train's radicalisation. The report, based on extensive research including emails, text messages and online content, detailed the train's involvement in extremist ideologies and their preparation for the attack. Professor Roos's analysis indicated that the train's radicalisation was a multi-stage process. It began with Gareth Train's engagement with conspiracy theories online and escalated to doomsday prepping, online threats against police and attempts to recruit others. Roos's report highlighted the train's adherence to a form of Christian fundamentalism known as premillennialism, which involves beliefs about an impending apocalypse and a final battle before the establishment of a divine kingdom on earth. The coroner's inquiry focused on the chain of events leading to the massacre, evaluating the adequacy of police response and the factors contributing to the tragedy. Key findings included the need for improved communication and coordination amongst responding units. The inquiry also emphasised the importance of equipping officers with appropriate training and resources to handle high-risk situations. Lessons learned from the Wieambilla massacre have influenced ongoing discussions about police preparedness and response strategies. That wraps up our in-depth exploration of the Wieambilla massacre, from the radicalisation of the perpetrators to the tactical challenge faced by law enforcement. This tragic event has left a lasting impact on the community and the broader discussion on extremism. Join me next time on True Crime Mysteries as we continue to uncover the dark corners of true crime. Until next time, my friends, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, every shadow holds a story waiting to be uncovered.